Hi everyone, this is the review for your first exam in Rehab 600, which will be open to everybody starting the 3rd and open for a couple of days. So you'll have from the 3rd to the 5th to take the exam. Hopefully that allots you enough time to do that. I always recommend and suggest, highly suggest that you try to plan to get in earlier than later. The exam will be open for 2 hours, so you have plenty of time to take the exam. 2 hours, I've never, barring any accommodation needs, typically 2 hours is plenty of time to take the test. But you never want to wait till the last minute, just because sometimes eCampus doesn't work the way you want it to, and sometimes there are glitches. And so if I've got the time to reopen a test for you or verify that things have gone wrong on eCampus's end and IT is working on it, then you still have plenty of time to get the exam in. So try to plan, accordingly in your schedules to take the exam before 9 o'clock on the 5th, okay? So the exam will cover everything that we have talked about in the modules up to this point. Please re-review. I'm going to assume that you've already reviewed each lecture note document that I provided for you. So those will be really important for the lecture notes that are left open. I think it was module 3 that I had you kind of fill in the blanks for each of those laws. Make sure that you've really covered each of those areas. Family medical leave, the ADA and Rehab Act, of course, are going to be pieces of legislation that are going to be talked about on the exam, so review those as well. There are 30 questions total, so not a lot of questions. The majority are multiple choice. Each multiple choice question is worth 2 points. There are 4 short answer questions. Those are worth 10 points apiece. And so the way that I grade those is dependent on the question, and typically I'll tell you what I'm looking for within the answer itself. Short answer is not essay, okay? So I don't need like 5 paragraphs for the short answer. I just want it to come from you. I can typically tell if you've cut and copied and pasted from other locations, so please don't do that. Please make both of our lives a lot easier. Just write things out in your own words. Show me that you understand the laws that I'm asking about, the concepts that I'm asking about. Convey to me that you've acquired the knowledge, all right? And we'll be good. Check for misspellings, check for grammatical errors. I do look for those as well. I don't expect citations and references in the short answer questions. I just don't. Feel free to put them in there if you want, but I don't expect it. There are 3 or 4 true-false questions, and so the way that I structure my true and false questions is I want you to tell me whether or not the statement that I've made is either true or false, but then I want you to support your answer. And so part of the portion of the question will go towards, whether the points will go towards whether or not you got the true false part correct, but another part of that will be, did you have the justification to support your answer? So again, things to cover. Of course, a good amount of the information is on the Americans with Disabilities Act. Some of the older laws, I've included a couple questions on those too, which I covered in the lecture notes for Module 2, kind of the historical aspect of rehabilitation counseling. There are questions that are related to social justice counseling, what that might mean, what it might mean to you, multicultural counseling. I can't give you all the questions, right? But I think reviewing the principles of the codes of ethics would be useful for you as well. So I'm not the type that tries to trick people on an exam. I try to make it relatively straightforward. So please do study prior to the exam. You don't have to reread every little detail that I put up or watch every single movie again. But hopefully the lecture notes will provide a nice outline for you to be following whenever you're taking the exam. I mean, everything, I can't sit over your shoulder, and it's not proctored, so it's open note, right? There's no textbook here, so it's open note. Feel free to look over the notes as you go through, but be mindful of the time as you're doing that. Make sure that you review in terms of the newer legislation like the ADA, family medical leave, how many people have to be employed in order for those laws to apply to a company. That's really important. And some information about accreditation bodies, what that means for counseling, review kind of the difference between CORE and CACRAB, where we stand now with those. And yeah, if anything goes wrong with the exam, if you have a problem, if it freezes up on you, if it kicks you out, please take a screenshot, let me know immediately, send an email to me through the elizabeth.simpson@mail.wvu.edu email, not through the course necessarily. So let me know as soon as possible if you have an issue or a problem with accessing the exam. And taking the screenshot will be helpful for me just to show proof, even though I can track things on my end to see if you're, logged on, kicked off, and things like that. And then you can always contact IT services as well if things go awry for you. So, trying to think if there's, again, I can't give you all the answers to the questions. One other thing, once everybody is done with the exam, so please don't look at the grade that might pop up for you at first. There's short answer and the true false questions that I have to go back and grade. So presumably all of you are going to get a pretty bad grade if you just look at the raw score before I've graded those short answer and true false questions. So it will take some time for me to get through all of those. So please be patient. I typically do give feedback. So if you've gotten an answer wrong, I'll put feedback on, what the correct answer might have been or what it might have looked like. So give me some time to do that. I don't start grading until everybody's completed the exam, generally speaking. And if once the grades are all completed, I'll go and run some stats on them. If everybody has gotten a question wrong or the majority of the class has gotten a question wrong, I take that on myself as something that I didn't teach as well as I should have, or if it was a poorly structured question. And so there's a chance that question would then get deleted from the exam and not counted as part of the overall grade. So there's that too. This is my kind of like fourth round giving this exam, so I feel like I'm pretty confident in the structure of the exam and it's not terribly difficult. So best of luck to you guys, and if you have any questions prior to, let me know, and I'll get the grades up as soon as I can, okay?